Ahoy, crypto pirates! Welcome to your Discourse Syndicate's FN Hangout. This is your ship, but I am your captain, the captain, RG3. Whatever the hell that means to anybody, that's who I am. And this is your place because you get to come on here and stream with us, whoever you are. Now, we've had to kind of watch it a little bit because someone's gunning for us, folks. They're gunning for us. And they're gunning for the captain. I have had nothing but gremlins for the last 2-3 weeks. You name it. You name it. I got some updates, some things I want to talk about before we get this show started, before we invite everybody. Look, you're all welcome. Come on in and hang at the green room for a minute. Yeah, man, some weird stuff. I was moving some things around, getting some stables out of the system that I was yield farming with and whatnot, and done with that. My risk tolerance is over. I've mined some ink tokens and stuffed them off to the side in my treasure chest and buried them in the sand like all the rest of my crypto. And was moving some stables over, and lo and behold, one of our staples that we've been talking about, and that would be TUSD, decided, well, one of their partners, Prime Trust, decided to get themselves in trouble with some insolvency issues. It appears they are under investigation. Unfortunately, they halted all trading, stopped everybody's money, and kept the captain's coins, of course. What do you know? The only time we got to use a damn middleman, and we get hosed for a split second. Just a split second. That's how fast, that's how it can happen, guys. We've got to get rid of these middlemen. We've got to. And if any of you see my stream this week, where I was with Crypto Stylist, Lit, and Ben, I was a little unhinged. I was a little pissed at the whole crypto space. I'm a little sickened to my stomach by it. I'm going to get in that in a minute. Let me say hello to everybody because I want to start off on a good note. Melv Tony, what's up, my man? Good to have you. One Hexy Mofo, Hex Glenn, Brenton Eslick. Okay. Rectangle, what's up, dude? X Glenn's, yep, Ralph Afghanistan. Alan, what's up, dude? What is going on? Crypto Heartbeat in the house. Oh my goodness. Just talking about you today with my partner, KNTX. Man, he really loves you guys, man. He had a great time out there with you guys in Texas. Good to have you in the chat, my man. Clinton's, what's up? Robert Kelleher Jr. I always love saying that name because I had a good friend named Robert Kelleher out in Florida. Really good dude. I lost him. I haven't heard from him in years. Swearworks, OG of OGs in the chat room. Swearworks, guys. Swearworks. Man was around in the early days of the Hexo streams and you name it. Way back. Brent Neslick. I'm probably going to repeat myself here. UFO 42. What is up? Good to have you, buddy. Good. Haven't seen you in a while. Pay Me Hex. Crypto Class, my lady, welcome. Who else do we have? 80. Whoa. I don't know how to. You guys have all these cool names, and I don't know how to pronounce them. I get them later, and then it's funny later. But anyway, Siri, ahoy, matey from Taiwan. Hey, welcome, Taiwan. Good to have you, man. Swizzle Sticks, what's up, my brother? What is up, man? Good hanging out with you. Out there in the Seattle. You're crazy. We're crazy. I don't know if I should say anything. I won't say anything. Swizzle Sticks he's a very talented man. Let's just say the man is a talented computer guy. Cool. Guy's got like devices hanging around his neck that he can do stuff in public with that trip you out. Scare you too. Good to have you, Swizzle Sticks. Rothschild, what's up? What is up, my good friend and fellow misfit toy land dweller? Good to have you on here, brother. Good to have you. Oh man, love being the underdog, love being the misfit, and so does he. Imran Ahmed, welcome. Hex Glenn, I think I've said hello to you. Paul Satch, Tripod, what's up? Hope RH starts a stable at some point. Yeah, we could sure use it. We can use a freaking on-ramp or off-ramp or two that doesn't have to deal with middlemen that are possibly going to go insolvent and jack you for your stuff. Anyway, thanks for the updates there, Melv. Hex Fetty, Dorsey, what's up? Tim Top, Franklin, good seeing you in my DMs the other day, Franklin. I was worried about you. I haven't seen you in a while. Jason Smith, Mike James, I was going to use TUSD right after I uploaded my ID. A few days later, they started having problems. They have been phenomenal. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with them because I accidentally sent a lot of, hold on, I got to do something. I love embarrassing people. Hey, CZ, how you doing? I'm doing the FN Hangout right now. Would you like to talk to everybody else on air too? Okay. I'm going to go. All right. Bye. So anyway, people always love to call when they don't know I do this every Friday night, right? Oh, that's funny. So anyway, where was I? Yeah, they were a great platform, but I had a love-hate relationship because I sent some USDC to them and it disappeared. It was a pretty significant amount of USDC too. You can't send anything but TUSD to their addresses, or it's basically like a burn address. I ain't buying that. I think they got my funds over there and they kept it, but whatever. I can't neither confirm nor deny that that's what they do. But yeah, I would stay, I would be leery of it right now. It appears that they have minted my tokens back to me. So I must admit that. But they had my tokens for 2 weeks. And now they have minted them back. I haven't seen them yet. It takes a couple of days for the minting process to go through. So yeah, but if I get it back, I will be extremely happy. So don't want to talk shit yet. Let's see who else is in here. Sizzle Sticks is laughing. Jonathan Kampala, welcome. And MA, hey Cap, today, hope the tweets made you laugh. Which ones were they? Were they the ones of me naked, dancing with Richard naked, with Hexo naked? That was weird, man. Whoever did that one was in the prison thing. That was a little cringy. But I mean, hey, it is what it is, right? Memes are memes. More people meme me, whatever's good. What's up, Ray? Speak more. I see you, man. Good vibes only, man. Good vibes only. Good vibes only. Yeah. I look relieved. I am kind of relieved this week. So CZ called me this morning and asked me if I could go on her spaces tomorrow. And so I said, yeah. And I was getting tired and I switched my phone over my other ear. And for the first time, guys, I could hear a voice. I could actually make out the words that she was saying. So my ear is getting better. For those of you who've been asking, I've had horrible tinnitus ever since I was out at a nightclub and it boomed and I've got nerve pain going down my neck and my arm. So I've got this real nerve thing going on the right side of my body and my hearing is gone. But yeah, it was, yeah. Swearworks, that was TUSD was tied to Prime. That was one of their redemption trusts that was handling the transactions, and my transaction happened to get stuck over there. So anyway, just started my PTO for the next week. Oh boy. Who else? Captain, you enjoying the airdrops from Buck and team? Everybody's enjoying airdrop. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So getting better. CZ funny. Yes. Crypto King in the house. What's up? Hex and SB. Brent Neslick. What's up? Look at that, everybody coming in. Good. And good to see you, CZ. Always love having you in the chats. Shot of petricillin will fix that nerve pain, Captain. Man, how do I get some of that stuff? Can I get it in the corner down here with freaking my local guy, or do I have to go to some special doctor to get that stuff? Glad to catch you live. Always catching the replay. Oh, good to have you, Koss. Good to have you here live. Okay. So a couple things I want to talk about in this here space. So I've seen a lot of, first of all, most of the OG streamers have kind of gone to the wayside, or they're not around during this bear market, or they're coming in and out. Even those that get a lot of views, But hey, what the heck is there a whole bunch to talk about when everybody's in Fudland and crying in their freaking beer and everything? I get it. It's not pleasant being around here right now. I got to admit, some of you are really just absolutely fucking horrible to be around and to listen to. The FUD is crazy. The unappreciation that Richard's getting is fucking driving me nuts. I mean, the man has done a lot. And the fucking chain that he launched is only not even a fucking couple months old, and everybody's expecting. I'm seeing, but nobody's happy with the price action. You guys sound like freaking coin fucking news and freaking crypto beat and all that other shit, crap news that's out there writing shit about Richard Hart. Some of you guys are starting to sound like them. It's kind of pathetic. It's a brand new chain, guys. It's like, give it a chance. It's the bottom of a bear market. Give it a chance, like back off. And, just because you over leveraged yourself, bad timing for you, doesn't mean it doesn't reflect the success of Pulsechain. Pulsechain doing just fine. It's a chain. It's launched. It's working basically flawlessly. Couple of front end issues with a website here and there with stuff, and they're all working on that. But those are Cadillac problems, guys. Most of these chains, they were up for the first day and down the next day, and shit like that. We haven't seen that. Let's see what MA just said something. Let's see. Day 100 ETH whiners. Yeah, day 100 ETH whiners. Where's the ETH? Where's the ETH? Captain, I don't mind the FUD. It allows me to DCA more. Try to give people hope if I speak to them. Attached to people's motions. Looking forward up. Yeah. That's what I'm doing out there on the Pulsechain tour is just talking to people about, DeFi, and that DeFi protocol is finally here. For those of you who aren't going to get to the seminar, I talk about, basically a little bit of who I am, why I'm doing this. Just a normal guy that picked things up and put them down his whole life, traded his spine and his hours and his family's hours for dollars, so I didn't have to auction my wife off to the highest bidder, see if we can get her, get some money in the house. So I just worked my ass off so she can stay home and raise my kids, our kids. And then I tell them, here's the history of cryptography. Started way back. History of Bitcoin, what Bitcoin proved, what Ethereum proved, and that they had both failed, but did their job and brought attention and awareness to what is possible of crypto. And this guy, Richard Hart, said, well, hey, I'm going to take the possibilities and make them a reality. And so he made a better crypto, that actually does something, that was programmed properly. It's had zero downtime in the 3 years it's been up. And it's one of the most amazing inflation tools on the planet. In fact, it's the best inflation tool on the planet. Delayed inflation. Did you know that some of Hex's inflation may never see the light of day? Imagine this. OG staker stakes for 15 years. Big bags everywhere. 15-year stakes. That 15-year stake comes up. They don't need it. But all of that inflation that got stuck onto that 15-year stake, they say, you know what? I'm just going to throw this one out another 15 years. Boom. 15 more years of inflation. 30, that's 30 years of inflation that just got pushed out from one person restaking a 15-year stake. You know the implications of that? Do you know that doesn't exist anywhere else in the real world? The possibility of that happening anywhere else in the real world doesn't even exist. So amazing product Hex is. And that's what people need to be talking about. Yeah, we're back. By the way, yeah, we got a strike. Hello, Sandy, my lady. Welcome. Yes, we got a strike. So people are gunning for us. If you were back here a few weeks ago on the FN Hangout, we had some trolls come in and threw some very, very inappropriate stuff on our stream. It was ugly. It was ugly. I admit it. I'm sorry for those of you who had to see that. It was only a couple seconds and we took the whole stream down. Took that out. But then the morning show, or I'm sorry, the Hex Late Show, the Aussies, who have been running their promo, their video, their intro video for this whole time. We got a strike because of animal cruelty, because of the kangaroo that was getting punched by the guy because it was trying to kill his dog, and they had that little clip up there, which that clip's been played all over the place. So I don't understand that. But somebody complained. So somebody's after us. You know, we see it in the chat rooms. We had somebody come in here a couple of weeks ago and they spammed up the chat room and said horrible, terrible things and, tried to throw us off our game, but whatever. So people are gunning for us. So that's flattering, kind of. It's like, great. They're after us. A little channel that has maybe 100 people watching at any time, a couple thousand views, big stinking deal. Appreciate all of you, of course. But like I said, we're not some big channel, but they decided they wanted to come in and try and hurt us. So somebody's trying to hurt us. So that's what's going on. If we get another strike, they're going to shut us down, but we'll figure out another way to get this done. Let's see. Last week's stream from Seattle must have been awesome. 0 complaints in chat. You know, like I said, it's just I just go out there and talk to people about DeFi, and then I tie it all up with Hex, because I don't want anybody to ever forget how important Hex is to the world. It really, my passion is for Hex. I am so glad we have Pulsechain. I am so glad that we can have true DeFi products now, and that the world can go out and start producing DeFi products. Very excited about that. But my passion and my excitement and my hope to take to the world is Hex, because I know what Hex means to guys like me. You know, it means that I don't have to worry about middlemen and the systems that are out there that I don't really get to play in. Even though I've worked my whole life and made some decent investments and all that kind of stuff, this world wasn't built for a guy like me. I was supposed to just work until I fell over dead. That's what they were trying to do to me. They were trying to squeeze every ounce of freaking productivity that they can get out of me. And that's what they've been doing to the middle guy for the last few decades. Our productivity has gone through the roof. And our wages have gone down. Our retirements have gone down, and everything's inflated. Our dollars that we've saved are deflated because of inflation. It's just a horrible situation to be in, and I'm not there anymore, but I still feel it. And I still feel it for all those people that are out there struggling through this, and Hex fixes that. Hex fixes it. And now with Pulsechain, it fixes it easier. It's going to do a better job at fixing that. So my hopes is that we all don't forget how important Hex is on both chains, because Hex is so rare. It's so, so rare. And, you know, one of the things that I say to everybody, I'm sorry, I'm losing a whole bunch of the chat here. One of the things that I say that you know, there's a lot of very, very deep, important things about Hex. For instance, the inflation model, that I just talked about. On top of that, the Nobel Prize worthy T-Share, the interest bearing model, the reverse amortization of interest, the way that Kyle and Richard put that together, and a guy named Michael who brought it all to everybody's attention. I don't know if you guys know the little story, but there's a guy, Michael the plumber, and he was just a guy in the chat rooms in the beginning before Hex, and he's still around. He still messages me every once in a while. Good dude. I've met him a few times, but he was in the chat rooms, and he's like an old school DJ and gambler kind of guy. Knows his numbers, knows his game. You know, you aren't going to put one over on that guy. He's a hustler. And they were doing the interest, the APY bearing tool that they were going to use. He looked at it and said, man, I'm going to game you all. I'm going to stake 30 days and wipe all of you 15-year stakers out. And he was right. The numbers are right. And that's when Kyle had to step in and go to the drawing board and figure out a way to fix that APY problem, that interest bearing problem. And they did. And that's when they came up with the T-Share, and one of the most amazing tools known to man. Because they say that, like, what is it? Interest or compounded interest is the eighth wonder of the world or something like that. I think that Einstein or somebody said that. And I think that T-Shares even freaking trump that, because it's even better. So then we have that, you know, we have the T-Share, which nothing else has. But most importantly, we have the OA. Now, the whole rest of the world who doesn't understand or know Hex thinks that the OA is a bad thing. It's not. It is the regulation. It's the valve that regulates the whole thing. And at first, we didn't understand that until we saw Big Payday and what it did on Big Payday. We go, oh man, this thing's here to protect the system. And so with that in mind, with the OA holding most of the supply and the pool only being, 9% filled at this point. That's why we're all making like 38% APY just on the interest alone, or just on the yield alone from the inflation rewards alone. Let's just call it that. It's funny to look at the circulating supply that's left and think, wait a minute. I mean, look, I'm not the mathematician. All of you guys out there are the freaking mathematicians. You guys understand math better than I do. But even this old dummy knows that if I take all of the circulating supply that's left and dump it in that pool, every single last hex, and dump it in that pool, that APY ain't going down to less than like 18%. And I think it's even really higher than this. Probably, if you guys did the math, somebody did the math, it's probably like 21%, 21%, something like that. Now, wait a minute. What is the real world implications of a tool, of a financial tool that is immutable? Human beings don't operate it. You operate it. You control it. The contract is yours to hit the functions. That's it. It does what you tell. It's like a calculator. It does what you tell it to do. Period. End of story. Nobody else in the middle of it. Nobody can affect it. So imagine when the real world discovers a tool that can turn 18 to 20%, 21% APY, automatic, risk-free. Who wants something like that? Everybody, because nobody has anything like that. But guess what? We do. We do. So old pirates had it for 3 years. And I ain't making 38% APY because some of you weak lettuce hands like to hit that EES button. And I made 51% APY because big payday and all that other stuff. So I'm just going to crush it for the next few years until the world finds out what it is. And then I'll only make about 18 to 20% APY. Oh, damn. Oh, damn. Now, what do you think is going to happen when that gets discovered and all the hex is staked? People are going to be waiting in line for you to take your hex out and sell it. That's why Richard has always said, you guys don't understand how high the price of hex can go. Hex has only seen its one bull market, one big bull market, with a very small little piece of crypto in it. 3% of the world, guys, is in crypto. 3%. That's a freaking gnat on an elephant's ass. 3%. Probably less than 1%. I know it's less than 1% of crypto is in hex. A gnat on another elephant's ass. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just, it's in its infancy. Those of you who call people OGs, you're the OGs. If you're in hex right now, you're the OGs. This thing can change the world and more than likely will. If crypto doesn't get smashed, the internet doesn't get turned off, if we don't have a zombie apocalypse and, you know, big long-haired dude comes down and takes half the people away and all that stuff. If we don't see some kind of catastrophic event, hex will eventually be that tool that the world uses and go absolutely parabolic nuts. Because the world needs this. This is exactly what fixes the world's woes right now. And nobody's looking at it. I know it. Whole bunch of other people here in the chat room and the OGs know it. It's not rocket science. Richard freaking gamed the system. It was checkmate when he launched hex. Can't turn it off. Can't have Richard turn it off. He can't turn it off. Nothing you can do about it. Hex is hex. And it's going to do what it's going to do. And now Pulsechain just makes it better. So what's going to happen now that it's better? And it's going to be better on both chains because now Ethereum is going to have to pop its head out of its ass and make things work over there. And Pulse is already taking some of the pressure off it. So when the hex disappears on one chain, people are going to be running to it on the other chain. So nothing's going to go bad with hex. And then we've got PulseX, which is another shiny object in crypto. But anyway, that's what I talk about on the tour. But I want people to understand that I'm not here to promote Pulsechain. I'm here to tell you how great it is and that it makes hex better. Because it does. It makes hex better. And people better start paying attention to hex and quit trying to kill one or the other and pick sides, because that's not what it's about. The world needs both hexes. Promise you. Promise you it needs both. So, hey, let me bring one of my buddies up here real quick. My good friend and
matey, look at me. I've got my headband on for a change too. Says surrender the booty, yar.
What's happening, bro? My fellow salty pirate.
Making the rounds, man. I shared out the Hex Rewind today, and it brought back the feels of the good old days of Discourse Syndicate where we had to talk to each other to save our own sanity.
It's almost gone back to that, bro. We, what I'll call you like twice this week just to save our sanity.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, man. It's I felt like today was the day that I was going to get out there and I was just going to say, guys, let me tell you how it really was, because everyone likes to fantasize about being the OG and getting the great prices and being in unknown territory and not understanding that fear of that unknown territory where we can look back at Hex now and know what it is capable of doing, When we got in, we didn't know what it was capable of doing. We had to bounce it. What do you think? It can do this? What do you think? We were the noobs. We were the people saying, what do you think it could do? And we didn't have anybody to ask but us.
Nobody asked but us. I mean, we were the ones unpeeling the onion at the time. We were trying to figure it out. Like, we knew it was good. We just didn't know how good. And, and it just around every corner that we did get an answer, it just got better and better and better until we had what we had. And then, there was that aha moment. And I think that's when we all turned into, that's when they thought we were crazy, because we started really going, oh my God, you people got to figure out what we found. You don't understand. Like, this is the one. This is the crypto. This is what's going to change the world. This is Satoshi's vision and some. This is what can change finance. And it may have sounded strange at the time, but we were right, and we're still right, and we're always going to be right until the rest of the world catches up.
Isn't it funny how, it's like nobody has ever read Satoshi's white paper. And, even Brandon pulled that up the other day, and he read off some of the Satoshi white paper. So you understand that Bitcoin was never designed to be institutionalized. Bitcoin was never designed for you to beg an institution. Bitcoin was never designed for you to have a middleman to say, oh, please, can I have my money? Would you unfreeze my account? I sent
Bro, they're
myself,
cheering it on right now.
Huh?
The Bitcoin maxis are cheering it. They are getting, like, they are lining up to just literally bend over and take it for BlackRock. Like, the institution that they have all railed against, like, that is like they are willingly, like, putting on the lingerie, locking the door, and climbing into bed with this thing. And it's like, I was on stream the other day, and even some of our people, and God love them, I do. There are peeps, there are Hexicans, but they were buying into the narrative too. Like, hey, this is going to pump. And you know what? And I said it. You know what, guys? It's going to pump my bags. It is. BlackRock is going to come in here and pump my bags. And the captain is going to know what to do. And Johnny's going to know what to do. We are going to watch this thing, and we're going to know what to do, because we know what they're coming to do. They're going to pump the living dog shit out of this thing. They're going to put about $8 trillion, because they put $3 trillion in last time. That wasn't crypto plebs putting that money in, folks. Let me tell you, that was them playing with this thing. Like, think of crypto like a little wet mouse that's all beat the fuck up with a lion playing with it. That's what these things are doing to your space. They're coming in and just gnawing it and licking it to death and letting it just try and escape and pawing on it and slapping it down. That's what crypto is. It's just a little mouse getting played with by a lion. And this lion's coming in with 8 trillion this time. You watch, guys. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to create so much FOMO that all the plebs are going to come. And they're going to be ringing your phones. And my phone's going to ring. And they're going to want doggy coins and Bitcoins. And they're going to want it at $80,000, $90,000. They're going to want to buy all of these things at the top of the market, because they're not calling me now. They're not calling me at 1 penny hex, at 8.8 cent hex. The greatest asset that has ever seen this space, or probably the world period. No, they're going to want the doggy coin that's worth 100 times more than it is right this moment when that bull market comes. And guess what? They're going to get it. They're going to buy it. They're going to pump the market. And then BlackRock's going to watch until all of you get in. And then it's going to spring the trap on you. And it's going to yank everything out.
Hammer with a
and
nice
RG's going to make his money. I'm going to have my whole bag full of money just sitting there going, all right, guys, I'll see you. I'm going to find me a beach somewhere and go hang out for a while. and maybe get some
We'll be back
Botox
after you done
and a massage
decimated the
or two.
place.
And then you guys can, you know, good luck. And a bunch of you are going to hold it and hold it and hold it and go hope. And they're going to feed you hopium, and all the OG maxi influencers are going to tell you it's coming back. It's coming back. And it's going to dive and dive. And then everybody's going to get scared and pull out and wreck themselves. And it's going to bottom out. And then guess what? They'll come
Starts
back
all
and
over
buy
again.
it. They'll buy it again. They'll buy it all of your wrecked bones laying in the street. After the blood dries up, they'll sweep it all up and buy it all up and pump that shit one more time until they keep getting out of it what they want. And they've been doing that the last 3 bull markets, and you guys still haven't got a clue about it. They're still going to let it happen. They're still going to cheer it on. They're still going to give up their morals, their values, Satoshi's white paper, step on it, just tear it up and throw it all over the floor, guys. If you're rooting for BlackRock now, forget it. You don't want crypto. You don't want DeFi. You don't want to change the world. You want to pump
They want to pump their bags, man. That's really what it comes down to. They want it. They want it now. They don't care how they get it. They don't care who it hurts. They don't want independence. They just want a chance to cash out. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a sad thing, because, you know, this space doesn't deserve that anymore. We have real DeFi. We have literally the roots of crypto have taken, and now there's a tree that can bud from it. And that's real DeFi, which is what Richard has created. With Hex, Pulsechain, and PulseX, we can really start to build a true DeFi space and organically go out there and take this to people, and organically get away from middlemen, and organically get away from having to worry about, you know, BlackRock coming in and bringing its money and wrecking everybody. Let's do this the right way. Let's bring real people in. Let's get together and start gathering people through the network effect, you know, because, you know, it's that penny doubled every day kind of thing. If we go out there and do this and people really get a hold of what this thing is, we can fill up stadiums versus, you know, 50 people at a hotel. We can do that with this product. It's already taken people like me, you know, to where I shouldn't be. I should not be a crypto influencer. I should not be out here, but I am the best influencer because I have hurt nobody. I have never shilled a rug pull. I have never shilled anything that has hurt anyone. Everything that I've done and said has been backed up by Richard Hart and Hex. Everything. And I haven't even promoted Pulsechain and PulseX until they launched, and like, hey, here they are. They're here. So we're going to start the Pulsechain tour and start talking to people about true DeFi, you know? So anyway,
which is cool. And I will be joining you in Chicago, which means
very cool. Is that what we're going to do?
escape.
You're going to come to Chicago?
You know, I have to escape my comfort of home and go into the big city, I suppose. So we'll try.
Right on. Well, we've got a couple people in the room that have been waiting patiently. They're 2 of our favorite, most entertaining Hexicans that come onto the FN Hangout. So everybody, our man UFO 42 from across the pond. And ladies and gentlemen, for your viewing and entertainment pleasure,
Kool-Aid.
the Dr. D. Rajmore.
Oh,
we'll get back to that a little later.
He's taking over Richard's house.
Hey, you're at RH's place. What's happening, dude?
Yes.
Is your internet going to work today?
I don't know. If it's
right.
I'm very confused.
Yeah.
Diraj, give us what you got before we lose you. What's going down, buddy? Well,
who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you, D. I'm talking to you.
With delay time.
Yeah.
Is your internet wrecked?
It's quite difficult. No.
Did you want to share something with us?
Like more.
No.
Did you have something to share with us?
Well, I just came here to promote my own stream, the Hex Asians, every Monday, 9 p.m. Shanghai time or Eastern Pacific time.
Nice.
There are so many things I could say, but I don't know where to start. I saw a question regarding the Hart's law, which see, I would personally like to refute it, and I don't believe in it. But the thing is, overall, it's Richard's narrative. It helps shill Hex as well as Pulsechain. So I won't go deep into the details. But my personal uh, theory behind why these assets move in the same direction all the time is it's all driven by market sentiment. When people are able to see people see a price rise in one asset in the same category, they also buy other assets which are uh, in the same category, which causes things to rise. I will do a proper scientific refutal of it on the Hex Asian stream, because I don't want this thing, like the views on this stream, to get affected, because it's going to be
Well, you already said it. What do you think? You let the
Now
cat
you've
out of
done,
the
now
bag.
you've done it, man.
No,
I think
it's
that-
going to be a bit boring.
Jars that have
And
an
you've got-
equal number of things, and you trade one for another out of the jars, which is what ratios are, how that is not bonded.
And
See,
you're just talking about one. Yes, more capital coming
but
into the system
for that,
obviously rises everything. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
one factor. But Hart's law is still in effect.
It's just like when you can trade $1 for 4 quarters, or if you could trade a rock for four seashells, and if the barrels are really big of those rocks and seashells, it can go on like that for a very long time before that ratio changes. So if the pools are very, very large, and you have the ability to put in a rock and take out 4 seashells, that's just how it's going to be. That ratio is going to be the same. Now, if a seashell is worth $1, okay, and the rock is worth 4 seashells, then that rock is worth the $4. That's just it. You've got separate units of account. So they're
And
all
you're just
related
talking
to each
about
other in the
more
in the
value
method of
coming into the
routing,
system,
and that does
Diraj.
move all the prices together. And what we've seen so far is just that everything's been moving down together. It's not moving up together; it's moving down together.
Because of two factors: because of them being bonded, and because of the liquidity being removed from the system.
Yeah.
We were at a $3 trillion market cap, not meaning that there was $3 trillion of the value and everything had been blown up from the value coming in. And when that value leaves the system, which it did, the institutional money exited. When that money exited, it sank the whole system. And because of the bonding, they all sank together. When they all rise together. And when they sink together. So refuting it, Diraj, is kind of moot, because both things affect the price and the value of the whole market space.
Going back to rocks and seashell analogy, that only works if there is no other place you can buy the rocks. That means there is no arbitrage opportunity. When you buy, if one seashell is $1 and one rock is 4 seashells, if the price of a seashell rises by let's say another $1, so now you can buy a rock for $8 or 4 seashells, but it is given that there is no other place to buy the rock. So if there is another place to buy the rock, you will buy the rock for $4 and sell it for the seashells, and then you tank the price of the seashells. Swap it
But
for
we know what
seashells,
arbitrage
that
is.
is,
True.
get 4 seashells
That's true. But
and
if you
sell.
look at
And so this is the thing. If this Hart's law applies, if there is no arbitrage opportunity, which there always is, so Yeah, that was my point.
But what happens
And
to an
we can go
arbitrage
into-
opportunity? How long do arbitrage opportunities last?
It's
They don't go on perpetually.
so
There's a real easy way. There's an easy
as
way to
long
fix
as they-
this. All centralized exchanges are not connected. The price on each centralized exchange is individual. Just like stores can put whatever price on a bottle of soda pop they want. The exchanges are all different. But if you ever notice, they're within a tight tolerance of each other. And why is that? Because bots or people will go between exchanges and they will arbitrage it out until everything balances back out again. So Bitcoin is a good example of that because it can only be purchased on centralized exchanges, yet the prices are all seemingly within, close proximity because, that even though the values are completely unconnected, the arbitrage markets balance out the system to where they're within a tight tolerance. No, you'll never have an exact pricing to anything, especially when it's cross-chain or from chain to chain. But you're always going to have a certain amount of tolerance before it becomes profitable for someone to make that exchange and balance the markets. And sometimes you just do it with bots. Eventually, people just throw in bots, and you see the bots on Dex Screener all the time. They'll buy ahead of your order, and you get sandwich attacked because they are balancing the market.
Yeah, well, hi everyone. And sometimes, dear Johnny, dear and Josh, sometimes people even take risks. Like if you don't have that stuff that you want around, then you take special high risk to get it, and you buy thousands of ships and go to India and get some crazy spices that you don't get from anywhere, and then you bring them back and make a whole lot of money. And this is how this whole new economy that we know with all this stock exchanges and everything has happened. And but Hart's law is actually within markets, so it doesn't apply to markets that are not connected. So I agree,
It's
Johnny,
part of the market.
and
Yes.
and I wanted not to actually go too deep into market economy, because this is what, like, you can go to university and do this, and I'm just happy to be back after, like, you were gone. Like, Friday Night Hangout was gone for 1 week for the first, I don't know,
They shut us down.
3 years.
they
Yeah,
shut
of
us
course.
down.
Yeah, from that Seattle place, whatever. But you were still talking about what Richard has been doing, and you were promoting this stuff. And this is very rare. And I'm happy to be here again, because I could not be here. This is, I'm just telling I couldn't be, so now I'm back here. And I'm still saying the same stuff, plus some more stuff, because there's so much more stuff that has happened. But it didn't badly affect the Richard Hart so-called universe. People on the Twitter spaces were talking about, like, well, he's not answering me on Twitter anymore. Of course, like, you had like 3,000 followers. Now you have 350,000 followers. You cannot answer anyone anymore, like any single person. You could like buy a couple of people who pretend to be you, but he doesn't. I think he's doing the best job he's doing ever. And still, as you said before, IG, he's accomplished what he has been telling before. This is all working.
Yeah, it's all working. And he's accomplished
It's all working.
what he set out to accomplish. And
Exactly.
to be completely honest, Richard Hart is actually the best promoter we have in the space.
I agree.
But do we necessarily need him to go and finish the job that we've started? And I think that's no. I think that
exactly.
We need to be the ones out there. The community needs to be the ones out there promoting DeFi and taking it to the world. Not Richard, us. You know,
which is the community, and b like the idea of DeFi. But if it goes to, he says there are only two things that matter. That is goods and services. What did he create? He did create a good and a service. And then if you go back into like marketing theory and stuff, and you could say like the best manager is the manager you don't miss if he's not there. And now people are missing him because he's not doing the same stuff that he did before, but all the stuff is working, which is awesome. And it's better than everything that comes up around. But now it's our turn to, make people aware of that there's a lot of shitty stuff raining upon on us, which has been basically for the last years as well. But we were like in a high bear market, and now everything has got a bit more shady to some people. But everything we're in is not really affected because it's running, it's working, and prices, like to the people who understood what we're in here for, like don't really matter if it's about like next week, next month, right? So we're talking about years here and about changing parts of the world with goods and services that Richard has created, which are goods and services in the financial industry, basically, but they're new.
Yes.
And they're the best of DeFi that's out there. And so many people are scared about this DeFi stuff, but they, you cannot beat math and science. You cannot.
Not to interrupt, I need to let everybody know. Yeah. I put the link in the chat room, guys. This is your stream to come on and come and talk. Good. So come on in if you want to.
Yeah, actually, people ask me how can I come up, and I said, well,
the link's on Twitter. It's in every single Telegram room.
Exactly.
And I put it in the chat.
And I said you can come up into the green room.
Still get people to DM me asking me for the link. Diraj,
exactly.
Continue with your thoughts. I didn't.
Sorry for that.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
You were glitching. Just your internet connection was down. I'm muting myself.
Sorry, it's okay. My internet is always quite kind of choppy. I hope everybody is aware. Maybe if I turn off the mic, the camera, it will be a bit better. So what I wanted to say is, my feeling is Richard has got the thing inverted. Like, what actually happens in the liquidity pools is the liquidity pools are agnostic of the price of the market. That means if the ratio in the liquidity pool for let's say Pulse X and Pulse is 1:3, it is not aware of the prices that are on the open market, or what you can say the centralized exchange, or it is unaware of the supply and demand. And my basic theory is price is determined by the demand alone. That is how much a person is going to willing to pay up to buy. That is what it doesn't depend on how much supply is out there or how much the sellers are asking for it. It's only when the buyer is willing to pay for that much, that is what determines the price. And that is also, like, when you see at an exchange price, yeah, we can call it the price, but it's actually a stale price the moment you see it. If, let's say, for example, now I think Belf Tony just updated it. Let's say PHEX is 0.0145 cents or $1. So if you, that is the price a few minutes ago. If you go there now, it's, you may or may not be able to buy the token at that price, because it varies, not only because of the trades that occur before you, but your trade itself will likely cause a slippage or a change in price, which will affect the price. So these things are, you need to keep in mind that you should not conflate the past with the present. The other thing, like, one of the easiest, uh, like, considering the, while focusing on the rebuttal part, I would like to give out an example. When Hex launched on Uniswap, Hex liquidity was solely bonded with Ethereum. Because of V1, there was only one way to pair bond on Uniswap V1, which was Hex and ETH pool. The ETH price went down, Hex price went up, and at some point it was vice versa. That that it's okay. That was an exception, maybe. And
you know that was a different situation when the
yes, I will
AA
give
lobby
it
was going on.
Yeah, so we will give
It was a
that
unique situation.
part as an exception, but keep that in mind that, yeah, we will consider it as an exception, but don't. But it is a fact.
But what happened?
That this
But what happened,
we have the
Duraj?
chance to show it.
But what
Okay,
happened when
next.
the arbitrage was happening? What happened when the main? Remember when the arbitrage opportunities were large in the beginning of the adoption amplifier, and Uniswap, people were pulling the Hex off of the adoption amplifier and dumping it because the price on Uniswap was higher. What happened? The bonded liquidity went up and changed the price ratio so that they could not arbitrage anymore. Do you remember that? And that's when somebody got very, very angry and started his own token and wrecked himself because he was angry and he couldn't arbitrage anymore. See what I'm saying? The arbitrage opportunity can be diminished by Hart's law, by the bonding of more of the by the two bondings of the tokens changed the arbitrage opportunity for that gentleman. And he got pissed off, dumped all of his Hex, and went and created his own token because he couldn't arbitrage anymore. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and of course he came out with FUD, and he had a list of addresses, like the OA is recycling ETH, and
yeah,
I was forwarded that list, and
yeah, you
got saw my own address there. And I saw my own address in that list, and I was like, oh, he's confusing the arbitrage that is going on as the OA recycling. And I was like, yeah, this is the, so yeah, it's clearly FUD, but
yeah. So Russ,
we'll consider it as
and that was a unique situation. That was a unique situation. Yeah, it was the beginning of the first DEX actually operating. The adoption amplifier was a rare occurrence. The fact that there was Hex on that DEX at the time, so it was a very precarious situation. It was a very precarious situation. And Russ, just to let you know, this was back in the beginning before Hex launched. It was during the adoption amplifier phase. The DEX was first being toyed with, played with, used, and there was arbitrage opportunity because the Hex on the DEX was more expensive than people were getting it off of the adoption amplifier on some days, and they were going and arbitraging and selling and dumping that Hex on the market. and the price was just fluctuating like insane because of all of it. So that's what happened. And somebody was doing a lot of it, and that somebody ended up dumping a whole bunch of Hex because he got pissed off because the arbitrage opportunity got taken away from him because of how the bonding occurred, the changing of the bonding, and he could no longer do it anymore. So he got mad and stomped off and sold all of his Hex and started a coin, and the coin failed miserably. It was a copy of Hex with a ridiculously dumb model that locked all of the liquidity in the V1 or whatever it was, and they wrecked themselves with that project.
Yeah, because this is exactly like maybe kind of a, because it's still discussed, like a proof of Hart's law, because it is you have two different assets that are bonded through the same liquidity pairs, and they're in the liquidity pairs, so they move up and down the same. And in that early phase that you're referring to, there were also the first, not DEXs, but like centralized exchanges like HitBTC, and you could really arbitrage from HitBTC to the adoption amplifier back and forth, and make quite a bit of bucks. So like let's say, like while the adoption amplifier, you had these days, and there was a 24-hour period, and you didn't know how much you'd get out at the end of the day. So, but that was like a special phase that is so only connected to Hex and to the day of
very unique.
Big payday.
So, very unique.
It's very unique. So, but Hart's law, I would say,
very
would
unique.
apply.
So I said, I already said it. Sorry to talk over you, but otherwise I don't get to speak. But that's the problem I see with these American immigrants, even in the Philippines. Like, once you give them a mic, they don't stop talking. Make one point, let the other guy respond, please. Thank you. Yes, I'm a bit animated right now because I just had some strong coffee. But I already said, yeah, we can. we
Go ahead, Diraj. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he's gone. I'm actually.
Keep in mind that
he's back.
It is a.
Well,
let him come back. Let him come back.
Yeah. But in the meantime, I am not some guy who came to America and the coffee thing. Yeah, they do have coffee here. And I'm just a European German that lives on the Spanish island next to Africa. So just to make that clear.
Go ahead, Diraj.
You all look the same to me. But sorry for don't now. So I already said consider it as an exception, but it's a real world example. You cannot ignore it. Mm-hmm. So let's go to the another example, ETH versus BTC. Centralized, decentralized, maybe some, but not maybe, but it's the thickest pair bonded. What do you call pair bonded liquidity in crypto?
Thickest order book.
No, but I don't want to. I can't bring up the chart right now. Maybe how thick the liquidity is there. If Hart's law was true, that ratio would never change. That means if BTC.
Are you talking about BTC and ETH? Because you cut out.
Yeah, BTC and ETH is the thickest pair.
And now, are you counting that on
was true
all exchanges?
They won't change. Yeah, all exchanges mostly, at least. Yeah, is an ETH. The biggest pool is usually with BTC. That's the most common now.
Mhm.
Yeah, USDC. Now we have USDC,
On centralized
USDT,
exchanges.
But when you compare, even on centralized exchanges, I could go there. Like I don't have the chart right now with me, but if you up to you, the burden of proof, I push it on to you, you guys. If that is wrong, then I will be.
You're talking to the wrong guy, bro. I'm not gonna bring the
Yeah.
proof.
So
I'm not gonna go digging into that
yeah.
stuff.
So okay.
because
So
because we're talking
yeah.
about a
So
different situation. We're also talking about DEXs versus centralized exchanges.
but even on dexes, if you go to Ethereum, one of the top pool would be wrapped BTC, or like when it comes to pairing with Ethereum, like wrapped BTC would be a thick pool. Even with Pulse chain, now we have wrapped BTC and Ethereum, which is may not be the biggest pair, but it's certainly one of the top 10 or top 20 pools on even on Pulse. So
Yeah.
my point was, if Hart's law was true, the ratio between BTC and Ethereum would never change. That means if the ratio was 1:3, it would have remained 1:3. But as you can see, Ethereum has outperformed the BTC multiple fold. I think it was just 3x in the last cycle, but overall it has gone from, let's say, let's count the peak of the last prior, rather the one prior to it, 2017. One Ethereum was around $1,400, and one BTC was $20,000. Come to the last cycle, the ratio was 4,000 to 60,000, 65,000. So yeah,
Again,
the
an outlier because of how
ratio has
the again, an
again
outlier
you are
because of
considering it
how
as an outlier.
because of
This is the second outlier.
yeah, there are outliers, Diraj. There are outliers. We're talking about averages. When you're talking about averages and you're talking about outliers, how much money came into the system at that time? You went from under what 750 to over $1 trillion in market cap at that point, coming in on BTC. Came in on BTC. That's what it came in. That's why BTC pumped like that. So that was an outlier. The same when you have a bull market and you have lots of capital coming into the market, it changes things. It changes the averages and the ratios. It changes it, just like any bull run's going to do. You're going to see things change. Now, averages are different, and Hart's law sits on averages, and it's a seesaw effect, and it works. Now, are there outliers? Are there things that change that? Of course there are. Of course. Can a whale change the whole situation? Of course. We know that. It's math. It's not rocket science, but the ratios do seesaw with each other. And that's what he's proven, is that you can actually seesaw these things, especially by using the DEX. So I understand your argument, but you're talking about outliers and things that, I mean, it's like what ifs. It's what ifs
Again,
versus the meat and potatoes.
No, he's picking out, if I may.
I'm the go.
Thank you. It is what you're talking about are examples, yes, but Hart's law is not saying that it is like always, and it's not necessarily time frame connected. It is but it is a provable correlation. And the correlation is what matters. So if it just correlates above an arbitrary a chaos, which is nothing, like you take two different things that are not connected at all, they will have a correlation and math that is zero, and it's called little r. And if you have two things that are correlated 100%, which means if this happens, then the other thing happens as well, not necessarily by if this one happens, the other thing happens. This is not causal, but it's correlated, which means both things happen at the same time. And Hart's law says that there is a correlation between the prices that have the biggest pools that they're traded in. Not necessarily indexes or centralized exchanges. And this is his theory, and it's debatable, but the things that you picked out as proof that maybe it does not apply, do not kick the theory, because the theory has been shown, as I have seen it, a lot more through there is a correlation. We don't know how big the correlation is, but there is a correlation over the last years, and he has or was the first person who found this out and said, I call it Hart's law.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Raj. I'm not.
Yes.
I don't think that it's. I don't think that Hart's law is moot. I don't think that it's not useful. I don't think that it's useless or it's not true. I think that it does happen. I think that it's part of the market, but I think that the outliers and the other things do affect it too. Not saying that Hart's law is the end all be all, and if you correlate these things, then boom, that's exactly what you're going to get. I understand what you're saying, so I'm not refuting what you're saying.
So, because you consider the first two examples exceptions, I will give you another exception to the law, which we see right now. Pulse versus PulseX. I think PulseX dumped. I think PulseX dumped a little. From Robert's comment, I see PulseX dumped a little more. Pulse is still holding on around the day one sacrifice price of what 1 to 10,000. But so again, another exception I must say, because
you say that tongue in cheek, but you're also got to look at something that's less than a month old. That's got FUD coming in on it.
You have to have some.
What I said another exception. That's why I said another exception. See,
okay.
Another less than 2 month old asset
situation,
but
yeah,
they both started off at the same rate of $1 is 10,000 points or pulse for pulses. Then why are their prices different? Why is the liquidity in the ratio of 1:3? Maybe because people wanted PulseX, or rather wanted Pulse more than PulseX. Why? Everybody has their own reasons. Some people believe that the underlying blockchain has more value. Some people believe that the asset built on top of the blockchain has more value. Everybody had their thing. They did their trade ratios, and we have the price that is at the current phase. So again, my basic conclusion is that these are all market sentiment driven. Whatever the price is dictated by the what the buyer is willing to pay. Hart's law, you cannot and points out that one of the crucial factors or the basic ratio equation for Uniswap, as well as most of the other indexes, that is X into Y is equal to K. Wherever that is the only thing possible, when that is the only way to trade two assets, then that law applies. Otherwise, it's not really useful. Again, I didn't want to do this, but hey,
no, it's okay, Daraj.
Look, see,
Yeah,
I don't
Hart's
want to
law is
talk.
not a trading strategy that you can apply in short term.
Look, see, it's Richard Hart's words. I don't want to go against it because some people get mad and I lose followers when I say anything in contrast to it. So I don't want to do that. Plus, it
But you
feels
have to
bad.
be.
Again,
You have to speak
but
your
I am
mind. You have
kind
to
of
say.
realist.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
And
of
market
course.
sentiment is a
And
big mover in this space.
Yeah, but the chat, for example, has some smart suggestions. So Jimmy Diamond says laws describe what will happen in a given situation as Diamond's trouble by a mathematical equation, whereas theories describe how a phenomenon happens, which is very much true. And then there are examples, and a theory attempts to explain why something happens. A law explains what will happen and how it will happen every time. So if you call it Hart's law, in that sense, it wouldn't be a law,
so,
but it is like more likely that it happens if you don't change any of the other variables from the time that you have observed in that time before. And as RG said before, like we have 1 month now, Masomeno, and so like if someone it changes the pools and everything is just swap around, then we have this much of evidence-based theory, and we can look at that, and but we cannot predict that into the future because we don't know the pools, how they will be structured in the future. But we have seen over time, which has been over like 8 years or something since Bitcoin and Ethereum had existed and were very much the most trading pair, and not in decentralized but even centralized exchanges. They still kind of like went up and down, even with some time difference in a pattern. And he said this pattern is not just because of something or anything, but because of the liquidity pools that exist between the two different coins or tokens. And this is basically Hart's law. But why I'm here, I'm not here to talk about Hart's law.
hold on 1 second. Pulseformer, do me a favor, turn on your camera. So I need to see who you are, just because we've had so many trolls lately. If you want to shut it off later, that's fine. Just show me that you're not one of the trolls that have been showing up, and that you are. I'll let you up. And you're wearing clothes or something, please.
So, anyways, I will just make a final statement. I will describe more regarding the Hart's law on my Hexations stream.
Yeah, go check out the Hex Agent. It'll be Monday morning or what?
Monday morning, 9 a.m. EST. I'll be there. The thing is, remember, Hart's law is not a mathematical or a physical law, which is like Ohm's law. It's more of a philosophical or an economical law, just like Murphy's law. And what Murphy's law states, if something can go wrong, it will go wrong.
No, it's like
it
a hypothesis.
So a hypothetical thing, you can keep it in mind. Just don't base your strategies on it. And I have to go there. Like we saw the real application of Murphy's law a couple of weeks ago under the sea. Sorry, not sorry. Anyways, I will mute myself for a little while.
Well, thanks for bringing that, Diraj. I appreciate it. It's a good thing to talk about, and we will see in the future how Hart's law affects the DEX and the trading pairs, and moving forward how things go. But interesting conversation. Go check him out on his stream on Monday and get into the deeper conversation about that. I'd rather talk about where we're moving forward as far as, DeFi, because, that's really all this trading and degen crap, everybody worrying about the price and all that. I don't think that this is the time to be worrying about that. This is not the time to be talking about prices and bonding and where they're going. And this is the time to talk about what has just happened. And what has just happened is crypto has changed forever. It has changed. And we are no longer a Bitcoin and Ethereum world where we have a broken crypto, Bitcoin, that doesn't work well for anybody. It's held by a few, shielded by all of them to get people to buy something that is not going to really give them much value. They're not going to see a 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x. They're going to see very small returns. The thing doesn't work. Nobody wants to get involved in it. Nobody wants to add anything to it. The people that are building things on it can't get them to work. And it's a Rube Goldberg machine. It is not the most efficient crypto in the world. It was the first crypto in the world, but it is not the best. And Ethereum tried to change that. And it did a decent job of putting out Solidity and making it easy to program cryptos to do cool stuff, as Richard proved that it works to create a better cryptocurrency. And that's what Richard did, not Ethereum. They didn't do it. None of the other people that tried to build on Ethereum tried to do it. They all built Ponzi schemes. They all built things that was going to hurt other people and line their pockets. They didn't do it what Richard did. Richard actually built a product that the world can better itself because of. And those are the things that we should be talking about. And the fact that now it functions better because there's a chain called Pulsechain that it can operate on. And Pulsechain is working at this point flawlessly. And Hex on Pulsechain is working flawlessly. Both Hexes are working on it. So that's what we should be talking about. And the shiny object, the really cool thing, the DEX, the decentralized exchange that we have. And you can go and take some risk and go yield farm and do all that kind of stuff, and Liquidity provide. And that's to each his own. If you don't know what you're doing, I'd be very, very careful. And also be very, very careful of the tokens that you're playing with on these decentralized exchanges, because some of them are free tokens that don't have any value. And some of them are tokens that have been bridged over from Ethereum that have value. And some of them are tokens that are native here to Pulsechain that have value. So you have to be very careful what you're getting yourself into right now, because if you trade something that has value for something that has no value, you get stuck with something that has no value. So you have to be very, very careful and understand what you're doing on Pulsechain right now. It is a very dangerous time for new folks. So be very careful out there, people.
Just another point I would like to add.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, just one more point I wanted to make, that Pulsechain is open source, so anybody can launch a token and name it anything and have a ticker symbol that represents anything. So please be aware of fake tokens being launched or maybe even airdrop to your wallet.
Yes.
You have to be very careful. I give the analogy of of Pulsechain to be the twilight zone in the ocean. Like it's big fish trying to eat small fish. If you are in this, the size is not just about your wallet, it's also about your knowledge. So if you are ill-informed, you are going to be eaten up. So yeah, sorry.
No, it's good advice right now, because it's a dangerous place. There's people getting wrecked, just trading into something that has no value right now. Saw a couple of people do that right in the beginning, first day or two, and it wasn't pretty. It was not pretty. Some people lost their whole bags trading empty USDC for things, and it was real sad to see.
Yeah. Although
Because there are people out there that are praying.
no, everything is gone for me. Probably I am gone and everyone else is still there. The captain is gone. Okay, let's go back to the DeFi thing. Yeah, DeFi is the thing. And DeFi, it doesn't mean that it's, that there are less scammers than in the real world, because DeFi is the real world. It's a better real world, and scammers come into that real world. So is anyone hearing me in this chat? And just someone saying hi.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear
okay,
you.
Okay, that's good. So, and just to go with the captain is back, and I was just referring to your DeFi, which is a lot more global, and just this is the topic. Hart's law is like a little thing within the ecosystem that is maybe explaining a lot of what's happening, but DeFi is the thing we're talking about, and DeFi is happening. It doesn't mean that there's less scams in DeFi than in the real world. People are afraid of DeFi because many people that are sitting on their old bags, don't know how to regulate it. But it can solve a lot of stuff, and it seems that it is unbeatable because it is just math, and you cannot take away. And this is why Richard has done the Sachs for free speech stuff. You cannot take away a thought that has been thought and written down. You cannot take it away, and the concept of DeFi is out there, and now all the nation states and everyone who's doing legislation, they have to deal with it, and all the large companies have to deal with it, because otherwise they'll get eaten up, or they have to arrange. So there will be a lot of fighting going on, which is already going on, that we see. But DeFi is the big new thing, and the things that are real DeFi, we have seen, and we are part of, I guess. The first real DeFi users were Hexicans, more or less. And
exactly.
Yeah. And they have promoted the first biggest DEX, a decentralized exchange. They have done the better DEX now on the better DeFi chain that is promoting DeFi with Pulse. And on that, PulseX is running, and Hex as one of the best new stores of value that have been created in the last, I don't know how many years. I think it's better than Bitcoin, as you just said. Bitcoin was the first attempt. It didn't really work out because it just got sucked up by all the centralized finance. Hey, people who lost all your money in Mt. Gox and in the early days, or paid all that money for the energy, and who didn't get your Butterfly Labs whatever devices to mint your own Bitcoin. Using all of the energy that you probably stole from your neighbor. This is not the thing, and DeFi is totally different. We have a new situation, and this is based on math, and this cannot be taken back because it's just there. And if this is implemented well, as Hex, for example, is, it's unchangeable. So Hex will be there no matter on what chain, it will be there. And this is what all the regulators have to cope with. And they're a little bit afraid of this, but they will have to arrange with it. And I'm pretty sure that it's not like we win or something.
No.
But it is a good thing for, I think, society.
Well, the pressure is on the regulators now. It appears that they are on the wrong side of history here in the U.S. anyway. I know a lot of other countries are starting to actually embrace DeFi, and even the institutions that are trying to come into the space right now, the JP Morgans and the Fidelities and all of those folks, they are setting up decentralized exchanges because they know that centralized exchanges are going to be regulated out of existence or regulated so harshly that it's going to make them unusable, or it's going to make it difficult. I'm going to bring up Pulseformer. Okay, Pulseformer, I'm bringing you up. I'm a finger on the button. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, sorry, I got like a 12-year-old laptop. So, yeah.
Right on. Well, we'll lay it on.
Sounds good.
My drivers.
You
Yeah.
sound all right.
Yeah, no, I'm Thought's Child can vouch for me. I'm pretty cool.
Okay. That saying that is brave, and but in this room it actually works. So let's hear it. What do you got to say, man?
I dreamt for the day that Pulsechain would launch, and it's here, guys. And seeing the price go down, how far into a bear market are we at this point? Like pushing 3 years at this point? If you don't,
We're in the depths. We're at the bottom.
Yeah,
Bottom.
yeah, like to me, if you're not broken at this point and you're just like forget what the emotions tell you, just like if you're not used to that already, I don't know. I got into crypto. Okay, the month that Richard Hart launched Hex, I had no idea, none. Right? That month is the month that I dumped all of my money into the stock market, right before the cough hit, and somewhere along those lines, I found Hex. Well, I don't have any more money in, that stock market ecosystem. It's all in, crypto is Richard Hart ecosystem primarily, but
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about crypto. Like I thought I knew something. And then my friend was like, hey, have you heard about Hex? Do you know what Pulsechain is? I'm like, at this point in time, I didn't even know like what the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin was, right? When I found this community, I found you, Captain, I found Whales, I found Hexo, I found all the guys. I was like, the T-Share price goes up and to the right, and now so does my knowledge on crypto. It goes up and to the right since I've joined this community. And yeah, love you guys, love being part of the community, glad to be up here. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Like I said, or like you said, we're in the bottom of a bear market. It's been pretty brutal, and everybody just hang in there. If you gotta keep those emotions in check. It's okay to have those emotions. Just think about it before you act on them, right?
Yeah, right now is definitely not the time to be emotional. I know that it is exactly the time that people are going to be emotional, but it is not the time to be emotional, because right now is a time to sit back, take a breath. We've all been waiting for this for a couple of years now. A lot of people may have over leveraged themselves, and they're not liking what they're seeing because they were hoping for, a nice 10x, 10x to come out the bag and maybe save themselves some face and then hold for the rest of the bear market. But that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening. And what's happening is what usually always happens. Like when Hex launched, came out, we had a nice big pump because everybody FOMO'd in. and then she bottomed out and blasted on the deck for a while until we saw,
Right.
the rise. And that was about April is when we started to really see the pumps. So that was what it was December, January, February, March. So we saw it was about 5 months that Hex was hitting the skids, and the maximum FUD was coming out on Hex.
Yeah,
I mean, those of us who were streaming they were pounding us, and it was, we were liars, we were cheats, we were thieves, we were getting death threats, we were getting all that kind of stuff. Me and Hexo were on a regular basis on the phone, just trying to talk each other off the wall, because it was not easy being a Hexican in those days. And we were in the skids for like 5 months, just bouncing and people dumping and people arbitraging out and doing all the silly shit. People talking about Richard. They literally had a Telegram room that doxed Richard completely and was showing that he was a scammer and that he was going, he had, all of the troubles that he had in his whole life. And there was a whole Telegram chat room dedicated to doxing him with his information and ID cards and you name it. It was all on there. And then we had groups of people that would come in to our Telegram rooms, to our streams, and just spread maximum FUD. And it was nothing like this. People are actually excited and interested outside of, the Hex community about Pulsechain. And they're saying decent things about it. Now, of course, we've seen all the stupid articles on freaking coin market crap and all the news, the general news stations, because they've all been paid to do so. They've all been paid to write these articles and literally bring up old FUD, like old narratives that really have been debunked for years and have been proven wrong for years. So just seeing that shows the amateur nature of what it is that they're the FUD that they're trying to spread. So it's really just falling on deaf ears. You've got too many people out here that are promoting Pulsechain, that understand it, that are doing good work, that are really blasting the FUD out of the water. Let me bring Garage back.
Yeah, right. So like I was listening to Johnny talk about like being an OG earlier today. And like, he mentioned a lot of things that you just mentioned. And to me, I'm like, wow, you compare that to now, it's probably a lot easier. If you were a Hexagon OG versus being a Pulse OG, completely different environment, right? We've had 2 years for people to wrap their heads around, like, like Richard says, oh, like it's just easier for people to understand what Pulsechain is. Oh, it's Ethereum, but better. Okay, yeah. When it comes to Hex, it's
people still don't understand it.
Yeah, it's a lot more difficult to understand. And I found out about Hex like I said, like 2 weeks before the Pulsechain sacrifice phase started. And back then I didn't know anything, but I was like, we're at the top of a bull market, I think, but like, why not throw some into it, And then, I threw some in there, but I've been buying Hex since I came in at 8 cents before the run up to 50. That's when I came into Hex. I can honestly say that I'm one of the guys that's just been kind of sitting back, just sitting back, buying Hex all the way up, all the way down, because I'm locked in now, right? I got some stakes. I got some long stakes, some short stakes, right? I got a ladder, and I would watching, now that you're locked in, all you have to do is learn, right? And I'll tell you what, if I didn't learn over these past like 2.5 years, whatever, however long it's been since the initial sacrifice phase, I've been eating and sleeping and breathing Hex, Pulsechain, Richard Hart, learning everything that I can, right? And I've been playing Diablo for the past like couple of weeks, right? Shouldn't be gaming, but I go through phases. I probably spent like the first week of Diablo on the computer all day playing, doing nothing but listening to Richard Hart streams all day, every day. So imagine just Richard Hart in your ear for 16 to 18 hours a day.
Oh, we've all done that.
Yeah,
that's how we started.
Yeah. And, like I said, once I found this community, I was like, yeah, Dogecoin to the moon. Dogecoin's going to replace the dollar, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, when I came to this community, I just learned a lot more. And now we see these FUD articles come out about Pulsechain, and it's like, for somebody that's just been sleeping and breathing this for a long time, I'm like, you guys, get somebody that like kick themselves out of the community that actually knows what they're talking about, that hates all of us. Hire them to write your articles, because y'all just like, there's no, like, if you're trying to write a FUD article, there's no oomph behind it. It's like, okay, Eric Wall, have him write an article,
Well,
maybe, if you want to FUD it.
The problem, Pulseformer, is to us. It's not to the general crypto public and to the general public. Like, for instance, my mother-in-law who reads these things, they're very real. These articles are very real to them.
You're right.
And they see the FUD and they go, wow, can you answer this and answer that? And of course I have to. And it's ridiculous because I'm the guy that just blows all this stuff off. But it does have an effect. And to us, it doesn't, because we can go, well, that's poorly written, because those things have all been debunked. But it does have an effect out there. So we have to be louder. We have to be more. We have to get out there and hit the streets ourselves and pass the real information and continue to do what we're doing, meaning getting out in front of it, debunking all of the shit, and continuing to do so, and not going away, and not stopping, and not giving up, and until people finally start listening to us, because they'll eventually listen to us. But let me welcome Kool-Aid on. He's actually the bonding master. I don't know anybody who knows. I didn't call him out to come in here and talk about it, but when it comes to liquidity bonding, Kool-Aid here understands it at a completely different level. When it comes to Hart's Law, he understands it at a completely different level, and has taught me a lot of what I know about it, even though it's way over my head.
Well.
But
I've been listening to him.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm actually in the car out in Austin, gonna go dancing for my friend's birthday. But I saw that you guys were live, and I'm waiting for him to come down. So figured I'd pop in and say hello. And the Diablo is a fantastic game, but if you think about the gamification on how Diablo has tiers and how those tiers have different procs of weapons and how you have to respec for a particular tier, that's exactly where we're in right now with the established move or cut of liquidity that we had from a 1 token system now to a 5 token system. So it takes time for all of those dungeons to reset and all those things to reload, just like a world boss in Diablo. It's very, very similar on how all of those mechanics twine on top of each other. So you just have to let things wind back up and then wind through the system, especially as liquidity gets moved in. We can see what Richard's doing with the RAP BTC, and we see Link and Aave pumping as well. All these little things are just setting the stage for what's to come. But the master nodes of everything is the core component coins that actually do the things you need them to do. So it just takes time.
So,
right.
So I think you missed the earlier conversation. Daraj was.
Yeah, I just popped in just now.
He wasn't arguing against, but he was refuting Richard Hart's law, which is Hart's law, of bonding, moving the needle. And he was using examples like Ethereum and Bitcoin. If that was true, then why are they not moving? Why is Ethereum beating Bitcoin? Also, he talked a little bit about early days in the AA and how that didn't affect it much.
Sure.
And a couple of other examples. But I was telling him those were outliers, and that Hart's Law is, I guess, kind of in the middle of Ethereum law. Yeah, but I know you understand bonding better than anybody.
Yeah, can I run with that real quick, Cap?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think let's just take the two largest, thickest bonding. Let's say the S&P 500 and the DYX. If we have the global dollars, the global reserve currency of the world, and then we have the stock exchange, which basically is all the risk-on metrics of the casino, as Sami likes to say, you can see that the most thickest use case of that particular asset, those are linked, and people correlate that to Bitcoin, which is the granddaddy of interoperability of what we call blockchain technology, that stupid little buzzword. But if we can take those three assets and look at them and then realize the network effect of how many people we have in our protocol and chain compared to the people in those other things, that bonding of liquidity is also the bonding of people. Now, again, I was talking, I forget where I was, maybe it was a Twitter space. How many people in your 401k do you know a single person in that particular pool? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. And if you take the assets that we have as retirement assets for generational wealth, how many people do you know in our community? A lot of people by name. And so that's really inherently the difference. There's just more numbers in the other one, but everyone's technically anonymous that don't know each other. They go to some stockbroker, they choose some eToro to buy or sell, or some group plan to invest in. They don't have direct people to ask questions besides someone else that you're paying to ask questions. It's very different than our community, but it also still is fledgling in the grand scheme of comparing the DYX to the S&P. And I think that's something just to consider the time of everything and how it matures, just like time in the market. This market is fledgling and new in the grand scheme of things compared to the gold market, bonds market, or all the rest of that. But we are slowly taking over those protocols of uniqueness that herald and shepherd themselves.
Yeah. And I think his argument was that market sentiment affects the price more so than bonding. And I think that may be true in outlier situations and in early adoption of, like, say, for instance, a launch of a chain or a launch of a new coin. Mm-hmm. You've got a lot of volatility. You've got a lot of different outliers or situations where the bonding may not take effect until it is more mature, like what you're saying, or it has had time to actually be the law, the rule, not the exception.
Exactly. So you have the two basic premises of that, and that's people that are using it, knowing about it and talking about it, and then funds of liquidity stamping it up and keeping it at large. If we think about how spot traded gold is different from paper traded gold and how gold hasn't moved, that's because the liquidity locked in on it at a heavy ceiling height and it can't go anywhere. Now, the perfect liquidity, not just thin liquidity, is how you get those same pumps and rises, which create virality and which create the FOMO that everyone chases the green candles, not the excellence. But I forget, it was probably Sam because I watch a lot of them, that during the top, when we were at 50 cents, we maybe only had 100,000 impressions on social media for our community. But yet now we're at 7 million impressions and we're still only sitting at 1 cent. Now you got to realize that we have had our community divided, and not divided as in like arguing, but our liquidity has been divided now between 5 tokens. So if you take that etymology on how the weight of these pools versus the liquidity coming in, but we're still getting more impressions. We're still getting,
and that's not counting the other projects on top of it too. So there is 5
correct
Hart projects, but there are other projects also that Hexicans have, or the money that has been in this ecosystem have spread out too. So we've definitely
exactly correct.
Illusion, and the hexes have split on top of that. So the value of the hexes, of course, are, what did they do? They went from 3 cents to 1.5 cents, and then now they're, floundering in that. So it's obvious what's happened. It's math, and it's the market and what we've done, and the fact that we're sitting in the bottom of a bear market too. And
correct.
There's people out there that do not have liquidity to jump in with.
Plus, it's even supporting Hart's law that in this case, Hex and the HR community is not correlated in that way as all the other markets are, because usually you would expect, as what Crypto Kool-Aid said, we have so much more exposure, so we should have so much more value. No, we don't. So maybe this is a good sign. At least it's something that supports Hart's law, which is saying that if assets are just correlated through having the only chance to be traded in their liquidity pools that are connected. which is definitely happening, as you better than I before when you were not there explained, being the stock market and the US dollar or the gold. Like this is all connected into like one exchangeable thing, and everything more or less rises and it goes up and down with itself. But we have with DeFi implementing real DeFi created a decorrelation situation that will be in our favor in the future, I guess.
Right. And I think people think about just like liquidity as just a word that we're used to saying, but I like to use the analogy of seesaws, or let's just say you have two buckets with pipes in between them. The more pipes that you have interconnecting them, the less water that can fill up the buckets because it's being transmuted in between those two geolocations of area or volumes of space. So it's not just liquidity, though liquidity is a huge thing, but it's also people, network effect, protocol supports, and all those other things that are going on. So all, my friend is here. I am off for the night, so I just figured I'd hop in and tell you all happy Friday.
Have a good one, buddy.
I got
Take care,
a I got a really
Drive safely.
Yeah, drive safely. I got a really good metaphor for understanding liquidity and liquidity bonding. Close your eyes unless you're driving, and imagine a pool, right? Like a pool that like in your backyard or whatever. Okay, that's Pulsechain. All right, that is the blockchain network. That is the pool. Okay, now take some rubber duckies, and each one of these rubber duckies is a crypto coin. So one rubber ducky's Pulsechain, one's Bitcoin, one's Ethereum, one's Hex. Okay, put all these rubber duckies into the pool, and now comes the liquidity bonding. Okay, take each one of those rubber duckies and tie them together with strings. Okay, now take Ethereum, which is an aquarium, not a pool. It's a giant aquarium, right? Because there's so much more water, liquidity in there, right? And attach a pipe to this little pool and start letting it drain. Okay, that's a bridge. As this pool fills up, everything moves, right? Everything moves up with it. Okay, all the rubber duckies move up. Now these are rubber duckies that are made out of sponges, right? And each one of these rubber duckies is going to absorb a different amount of water and grow bigger, right? That's the difference in Pulsechain going up 5x and PulseX going up 10x and Hex going up 50x in the same time period, right? Those rubber duckies that have sponge-like powers or whatever you want to call it can absorb the liquidity, right? And let's say a new shitcoin comes out, well, that rubber ducky is going to blow up pretty quickly, right? Because we see that with meme coins and people being degenerates. But that's kind of how I explain it to people when I'm trying to onboard them and explain liquidity providing and everything. And it works out pretty well. But yeah,
Okay.
if y'all think that's a good way of looking at it.
Not bad.
I like at the first thought, I would say it's not really describing the thing, because it's like more like the opposite, but maybe I have to re-listen. And a good thing is that everything here is recorded on YouTube, and I can re-listen. So
yeah, I kind of
I will not
overcomplicated it.
make my favor like a final statement until that. No, but like what Kool-Aid said, what I said before, it even like what Gerard said, his exceptions were like, he was saying he wasn't wrong. And Richard's Hart's law is not proven to be right or wrong, but it tells a different thing that what maybe some exceptions are, and maybe like this floating analogy that you are talking about are, because it's about two different assets that are connected as interchangeable, and you can only pay for the one with the other one, and this is why they are connected. This is basically
Yeah.
Hart's law. Yeah.
So like, go ahead, Captain.
I've been real patient with this, and I'm gonna let Diraj take this up on Monday and continue his conversation, because the message I'm trying to get across now is that we need to stop doing this. We need to stop talking about these things. It's okay
I agree.
in our little crypto nerd circles to talk about these things. That's fine. But the general public doesn't need to know about liquidity. The general public doesn't need to know about bonding and Hart's law and all of these things. They need to know how to use Hex and the DeFi system, because that's where we're going to get adoption. We're not going to get adoption by teaching nerds how to go and arb and provide liquidity and go make more yield. We're going to bring adoption by bringing the general public into Hex and showing them that they can make somewhere between 18 to 38% APY immutably over the internet without an intermediary, without anybody else involved, by using a code that they utilize themselves. We need to tell the normal man, the normal woman, the working person, the people that are out there that are going to put apps on their phone like Robinhood and buy Dogecoin this next cycle. We need to reach those people first before they go and do something stupid like that, before they get into the next shiny object that's going to bring the people that are going to come in because of the institutional money that's coming. We see it lining up. The institutions are ready to put their money in. They're begging for their ETFs and their financial products that are going to give them the option to get into Bitcoin. They're applying for their it's the same FOMO that we've seen the last few cycles before the halvening comes. Before the halvening comes, they start posturing, and it starts to bring news. And then all of a sudden, one of them will get accepted, and they'll get their licensing, and they'll get their deal, and it'll start to pump the market. And so what that's going to do, and what they're hoping that that's going to do, and they're going to be selling that news, is that that's going to bring in all the plebs, and they're going to get into these apps that they get stuck in, that they can't pull their liquidity out of, that they won't understand because it'd be too difficult, and there's no customer service. If you guys remember, that's what, like, most of the people that I was onboarding during this last bull market, they had all gotten in on this Robinhood thing. They were all on the Robinhood app, and they didn't know how to connect their bank accounts to it. They didn't know how to move their crypto out of it. And they were asking what to do, but they can go in and set it up and get their Dogecoin, and they can do all that stuff, but they were stuck in there, and they didn't know how to do crypto. They didn't understand a wallet. They didn't understand, a hardware wallet. They didn't understand any of that stuff. They couldn't even get their money out of this app, this ridiculous app that any 12-year-old kid could download from the App Store. And my kids were at school talking about the kids that were.
Yeah, but this is exactly the centralized problem. And I've been answering to some person who wrote me on this chat, happy to have the subject changed to DeFi, which is far more relevant global topic than Hart's law, which is exactly what you're saying. Educating people on what DeFi can do compared to getting locked up into the financial system, which you are already.
Yep. And see, and this is what they're betting on, is that they're going to pump and create FOMO. They're going to bring, $8 trillion worth of value into the market cap of this market. And then they're going to suck all the little guys' money up. And of course, we lose a bunch of people in that because they all get wrecked, and they think that crypto is a scam, and then they'll do it again. So if we can, I would like to, and when I talk and out in the field, when I'm at these seminars that I'm doing, I try and bring people into that and say, look, this is a completely different situation now. True DeFi exists, meaning that Satoshi's vision, Satoshi's white paper, what he envisioned that could happen has happened. We have true decentralized finance. There is one element that's missing, and that's the on-ramp, off-ramp solution. We still have to have an intermediary to do so until goods and services can be bought and sold with crypto, or we have a decentralized on-ramp, off-ramp that the community puts together and supports and gets behind. We have that problem. I experienced it last week with Prime Trust when my funds got held up by USDC, or I'm sorry, True USD. So we have an issue when somebody who understands and knows DeFi can't offboard without getting stuck in the middle of something. Then we still have a problem because the normal user is not going to be able to navigate that either. So it's really about onboarding people into DeFi, getting them away from these centralized messes that are out there, and trying to save them from the crazy market that's about to come. That's really our job. A lot of people right now are being very selfish and thinking about how much yield they can get and how much of a bottom they can buy and all this kind of stuff. That's all fine and dandy. Everybody needs to take care of themselves too. I get it. I understand. But my message is different. I want to speak to the normal people that are out there that aren't in crypto. I'm tired of talking to the crypto bros. I'm tired of everybody trying to one up everybody on how absolutely fucking smart they are. I don't give a shit how fucking smart you are. DeFi's here and I don't need you. I don't need to know what's under the hood of my race car. I'm going to go put my race car on the track that was built for it and race it around. Don't tell me how to set the fucking timing. Don't tell me how to mill the cylinders. Don't tell me how to hone the freaking manifold so that I can get more horsepower. Show me where the track is. Let me put my foot on the fucking gas and go around the track with it. And we need to teach other people how to do so too. We need to teach people how to drive, not how to be freaking mechanics or pit guys. That's the crypto bro stuff.
Because the majority
real people how to use DeFi.
Yeah. Exactly. Because the majority cannot be devs that prog it all themselves, which is then not working, and then they will realize that the system outside will do exactly what you said, and will see you as a threat. So it will come up to what you just exactly said. There will be a society where people will just accept everything in DeFi, or where there will be off and on ramp into another kind of agreed on currency system with DeFi existing, because DeFi is definitely the better way to use financial products. And this is the stuff that will be decided within the next years or decades, or rather years. And this is what we should be shouting out for. And this is why you're here, I guess, Captain. And this is why I frequently come back, even though I wasn't here for some time. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for doing this for, I don't know what, people are asking you. It's 3 years and a half plus 18 days, because it was it's 28 days actually. It was 2nd of December of 1919 when Hex was launched. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks, UFO. So the narrative it needs to be, for those of you who are here, there's other channels, there's other people out there teaching you how to liquidity provide, teaching you how to yield farm, all that kind of stuff. Look, I'm in the system. I'm day one Hexican. Obviously, my bags are in the system. helping support it, doing whatever I can. Of course, making yield and doing all the things that need to be done. But I don't need to teach people how to do that. I need to teach people how to onboard, because if we're going to really help the world, and the residual effect of that will be pumping all of our bags, then somebody has to go out and talk to the regular people. Somebody has to make this shit simple. And I'm not saying dumb it down. I'm saying make it simple so that people can understand. Make it simple so people aren't afraid of it. Because I think a lot of times that in crypto bro world, we try and one up each other. We try and out tech talk each other, and we scare the fuck out of everybody, because it's a scary fucking place, even for us, because you make one little mistake, you're responsible for that mistake. And I know a lot of people who have made mistakes. I know a lot of people in this space that are really good and really smart tech brains that have made mistakes. So we need to stop this tech talk bullshit, fucking who can outsmart talk everybody else, and simplify this thing so the real public is not afraid of it, and they can, like this movie's coming out very, very soon. Very soon. You guys are going to get to see it real soon.
Super excited.
And it's going to be a look at this organic community and who we are and what we've done. And it's the first time that a movie has shown what a real crypto community looks like. And I think, no, shit, we lost Pulseformer. What happened here? Oh, yeah, he dumped. I think that the Hexican community is the first true organically grown community backed by a crypto that has not failed it. Because, all the other communities were strong. They were strong communities, but their cryptos failed them. Their cryptos didn't do what they were supposed to do, just promised and never delivered. But Hex has always delivered and never promised. From day one, Hex delivered. Hex was Hex.
Before day one.
Before day one, Hex was Hex.
Yeah. But actually, Richard was asking people how he should call the adoption amplifier page about, I don't know, 7.5 months before he started the whole project. And before that, the other project was going on. So actually, this thing has been like 5 years old. And still people are coming to conferences. Still people are coming into these like weekly, not only chats, but YouTube channels. And even if it's like only 100 people watching now, there's 1,000 in a week, and maybe 10,000 in 5 years. And when all the AI will watch this, they will understand and will know what real DeFi is. And as you said, when the movie comes out, I am also very, very looking forward to this.
Yeah. So go ahead.
You know how I found I accidentally found an effective way of onboarding people is I started selling on online, and so I got involved in online selling communities, and I did really well in my first couple of months, and people were surprised. So they were asking me, it's they get to talking with me. I'm like, I'm only doing this so I can buy more Hex, and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, I get them to ask me, right? But I found that getting involved, even though it sucks to say this, but like not a lot of people are really going to do it, is reaching out and getting involved in other communities. Like my character's name on Diablo is Pulsechain. I've had one person say, hey, I've heard of that. Well, that's one person out of a lot of people, but hey, getting involved in other communities and saying, yeah, this is my hobby, and you network with people. There's tons of online communities that you can get involved in, and you don't.
Yeah, and that's what
it just exposes you to new people. Yeah,
is Hexicans out there doing their thing, whether it be playing a game or I go to Volkswagen meets and drag races, and I'm sponsoring a car that's going to be, you know, have Hex on it, and I'm doing,
Nice.
you know, all these kinds of things. Made a movie. You know, we're trying outreach. We built the Hex Investment Trust, which is, you know, a derivative of Hex that locks Hex up forever and trades it on the NASDAQ so that people can be exposed to it there. So anything that I can do to get Hex out in front of other people outside of crypto, because I knew that, you know, from the beginning, the early days of what they were doing to us, that we had a long road ahead of us to worry about this little 3% of the world that is crypto. They're all fucked up. And I really discovered that. And I really got my confidence in who I am and what I do when I went to the Bitcoin convention. I was at the Bitcoin convention, you know, wearing my Pulse shirt and everything. And thanks, Susan, for the awesome freaking rhinestone, bright ass Pulsechain shirt you sent me. But I was out there trying to gauge who these people were. And the thing that I found about them, you know, I got invited to the VIP party and went and hung out with all the influencers, the BitBoys and the altcoin dailies, and all of them guys were all there and hung out in their little cabana thing, whatever. And I realized that they don't have a clue. They don't understand. They're all handled.
You're talking Miami?
Yeah. When I was in Miami, and they're all handled, and they're paid to say what they say, and they're not. They weren't like when I run into a Hexican. Hexicans are fucking real, man. Like they're real. Like that's when we get together and we break bread and we have a couple of drinks and we talk DeFi and we talk. They're real, man. They build real bonds, real relations. These people were just faking the funk. And some of them were like full of themselves. And I'm not going to, you know, just like throw names out there or anything, but a couple of the big influencers, I was just, well, all of them I wasn't impressed by. Nice enough people. Wasn't like, you know, I wanted to punch them in the face or anything, but just full of themselves and had no clue and had done no research. They just had narratives and talking points and things to spew out. And they hate us because of who we are, because we're real, because we're natural, because they want to call us a cult because we are that organic community that sprung up from the ashes of all of the FUD that they created. And we're not going anywhere.
Exactly. And they are the guys that are paying the people going to the conferences, spreading words as so-called evangelizers that have no idea about what they're talking. They're talking at like they're doing this for being paid for it. And this is why they don't have this idea. And there are people behind this sitting and hoping that like their matches like will come true. And then us guys come up as real people. And we feel like we're in a field of what the hell are they telling us?
Yeah, it was surreal to be around all of them finally in front of them, because the one thing I love doing is getting eye to eye, face to face with people and sizing them up. You know, that's my thing. I want to know who I'm dealing with, what type of person they are, how, you know, and it just, because it gives me seeing 2D and watching other people talk shit and all this stuff, that this is so weird not to be able to get in front of them. And so finally being able to get in front of those folks, I was able to size them up and my confidence took on a whole new level, because I know that all of our streamers are 10 times the freaking geniuses that those guys are, that really understand what crypto should be and is. And that even myself was standing leagues above those guys, because see, I knew what they were shilling. I knew the crap that they shilled. I understand Bitcoin. I know its flaws, its faults, and the things that it's done right and well and whatnot. They don't understand Hex. They don't know Pulsechain. They don't know true DeFi. They don't know that it really exists. They still think that we're a cult. They still think Richard is a scammer. They still have all of that in their narrative, in their minds, and they look at us on the side of their glare. They look at us, even though I was standing there in front of them, they were dismissing me. They weren't allowing me to be
I would
part of the conversation or real, you know. And they showed their true colors, and I knew who they are, and they ain't about shit.
Yeah,
now.
but there are only very, very few. There are like a very few OG, let's say, Bitcoin maxis, and they are still. And we know the tones that they're talking about in their ways. And these guys will never get away because they're making lots of money, and they're just going for the that shit. And then there are others that are paying others for talking about it, but these people have no idea. And our community is full of people that are super skeptical. Like, I don't know why they are. I know why they are, but I'm not going to disclose this thought now here. And they have a real good way to see people. As you just said, like, you want to see their eyes, you want to like see what they're telling you, and you listen, but you also want to like look into their eyes and see if they understood what they're talking about. And there's
they're
so
faking
many
the
people
funk.
they didn't, and
and they were
so
faking the
many
funk.
fakes. Exactly. And this you can do in real like meetups. You can kind of like do this in setups like this as well. You can even, if you're like even in like spaces or whatever they were called before, if you hear people, you can do it. But there are huge amounts of people that are being paid to just keep up a narrative that is totally not representing the real world. And it does make it harder for real people like us. But I think we're not afraid of this because we have the longer breath, and we have just sort of like the truth and the math behind us that will
we have Hex.
Always, like,
we have Hex is success, and the product of what it is
cannot be changed.
behind
It cannot be changed. So it's just there. It's going to be there. You kill me tomorrow, it'll be there. So I have no problem with promoting Hex because no one can threaten me in any way.
So answering a couple of questions, and as far as would I invite any of them to a barbecue, there was two people there that, look, as far as a human being goes, now his narrative and the things that he said in the past and stuff he shills and his show and all that kind of stuff, I'm not on board with him at all. But Altcoin Daily was a cool guy. He was like one of those guys that you can like sit down and have a beer with, and he was just a cool guy. He wasn't an asshole, and he separated himself from the narratives and the things. And he even said, "Hey, we've been pretty hard on you guys, and it's all been in fun." And I think that was kind of just a like, right? Hey, easy, kind of thing. And he was a decent guy. Now the other guy, as big a human troll he is, was oh shit, now his name's slipping me. Our troll. Oh, what's his name? God dang it! Why am I forgetting his name?
Man, don't name the name. Just tell the story.
But anyway, I spent most of the evening hanging out with Eric Wall, and Eric Wall was a really nice guy. He's a human troll. That's just who he is in person. So to understand Eric and what he's doing out there is to understand that that's Eric all the time. Like, Eric trolls everybody, everything, all the time. That's just his mouth. That's what he does. But
he seems like a fun guy to have around.
He is a fun guy. We had a good time together. I actually drove him and his friend around when we were in Miami. We went to a couple different clubs and hung out together. And, you know, it was a lot of fun. Eric was a lot of fun. He just says things that he just trolls everything all the time. And I'm sure it could get annoying. And it does get annoying, obviously, to the Hex community. But he is just a human troll. He's a professional troll. That's what he does. He can't help himself. But he was actually a lot of fun to hang around with. And you know, and then he has his opinions on Richard and Hex and all that stuff, and us. But it's easy to have an opinion against him too, because he's just a, you know,
I love that guy.
Showed up in a wizard suit at a Bitcoin convention. I mean, he just anyway, but he's just a big nerd. He thinks he's smarter than he is, and he's just a troll.
I think he's great to have as, like, I don't want to say arch nemesis to Richard, but like kind of like
he's really harmless.
Yeah, kind of like Mr. Nimbus from Rick and Morty. If you've ever watched that, or if you get that reference, that's kind of how I view Eric Wall. He's just like this dude that's like, he's kind of like your best friend, but he will never turn down the chance to like publicly humiliate you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's Eric Wall.
Just to do it. Just to do it. And
to do it.
Yeah, I resonate with that because, you know, I'm pushing 30, right? So, and I basically grew up playing like StarCraft and, you know, being on the computer all the time. So, like, you know, I was there when trolling was born, basically. And I respect it. I like it, you know, because he also has, you know, if
I can laugh at it, but I don't, because I come from a different world where the world I came from, you didn't troll people.
Yeah.
Like you didn't survive in my neighborhood if you were trolling people. Like,
right.
If you were a guy like Eric and you were trolling people, you got tied up like a pretzel. You didn't make it. You know, that in those days it was, you're gonna say what about who about huh? What?
Right.
Are you kidding me? Like that stuff didn't go over well. So I understand that this is the world we live in now, and I can laugh at myself and all that kind of stuff. But there are times when it's like, bro, where the fuck are you coming from, man? Because that would have got you knocked the fuck out in my hood. Well, I don't know what you're doing. So it sometimes it does rub me wrong, but I have to take a step back and understand that, you know, hey, this is the meme culture. This is the internet generation. These people grew up, you know, 2D, not having somebody be there to punch them in the fucking face when they said something stupid like that, you know? So I have to understand that this is a different world that we live in today. And of course, in person, everybody's a lot different, you know? And of course, like I said, in between his trolling, Eric is a very pleasant and fun person, and compliments and you know, and says all the things that, you know, somebody who's in a situation, in a friendly situation would be in. And then his trolling comes across as playful and funny and entertaining versus, you know, when somebody just comes straight at you, you don't even know who the fuck they are. You don't know anything about them. It's like, whoa, you know? So yeah, it's strange navigating that. But again, when I go to Hexican events, it's a lot different. You know, we have a different conversations. We have different relationships. And these people are always wanting to do and be more, and wanting to do and be more for the community and to develop it and grow it. And that's exciting to me because I understand the networking effect, and I understand what that's going to mean to us in the future. You know, and I like to think that I had a big part in helping to develop that, you know, and bringing people together and trying to get people to talk in a different way, and trying to get people to understand one another and understand that there are people out there that are going to listen to you and not him, and listen to me and not them, and that kind of thing. And it takes all of us to go out and create that network effect.
Yep.
And it takes all of us in our own way to go and do that. Because there's a lot of people that don't like this channel, that like Coffee's channel, or that likes my friend Somi, you know, or all of these other things. So we need it. We need more, you know, we need more of this going on. So those of you out there, that's what I'm trying to promote, is you you being the conduit, you going and getting one and teaching one and showing them how to use DeFi and how to be part of this ecosystem and how to go out and save other people and help them to get out of the situation that they're in the fiat world and bring them to DeFi. Because I think we have a reprieve right now. I think that the regulatory is going to be backing off of DeFi because they don't have a snowball's chance in hell of regulating it. They can't. Like UFO was saying, it's been launched and there's nothing they can do about it.
You'd have to collapse society.
They'd have to collapse society, shut off the internet, do things that would create a zombie apocalypse, basically.
Yeah.
Like that'll be like a global civil war, which will not happen because.
Well, if you shut off the internet, what happens in the next like 2 hours? Like within the first, you shut off the internet, everything.
But this is like not the zombie, but this is like Madman stuff.
Mad Max.
After, thank you. Stupid me. Without the nuclear apocalypse, it could be like the digital apocalypse, which will not happen, of course. Maybe there is some AI thing that is, joining in, but I guess that AI will just be so smart that they will understand us a lot more than all of that crazy stuff that has happened within the last 15,000 documented years that AI has access to. So I think we're pretty safe. No, AI is not scared. I'm not scared of AI. Some people that want to keep things as they are for their better because they are better off, they will be scared. And I think AI will not be in their favor because AI will be smarter than we are. And if I be smarter than I am, I'd probably understand to not have like 0.01% of everyone own half of everything, which doesn't make sense for productivity. And if you're smarter anyhow, and they'll also not kill us. So, but that's another debate.
AI is going to make the world better. It's going to screw some stuff up too, but it's going to make the world better. It's another tool. It's just like when the calculator came out. When the calculator came out, God damn, I can't believe I got to freaking age myself like this. When the calculator came out and they put it on wristwatches and stuff, it was like a big freak out. Like the math teachers were freaking out that people had calculators and you couldn't have a calculator and blah, blah, blah. And literally, they told us in school, no calculators. You can't have a calculator. And they were very simple. They weren't
graphing calculators.
They weren't graphing calculators. They were just, plus, minus, times, divide. That was it. Yeah. And the math teachers freaked out. You couldn't have a calculator and they'd check you and make sure. It's just the same thing that's happening right now. And now calculators are used in math classes. And now kids are a lot smarter because they use calculators and they can do advanced math. AI is going to do the same for writing and history and all these other classes. Now AI is going to make it to where people can do better work. And they're just going to have to get used to it and, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not worried. I want to address something really, really quick though. One of our community members that is doing outstanding work, minus a couple little things that he's got wrong, call him a bitch for it, whatever. Our friend Somi, my friend Somi, free Somi. Somi's been knocked off of Twitter. If you can, go in there and vouch for him. Do what you can to help. Send him, send Twitter a message, whatever. But I want to support him too because he is definitely needed in the community. He has definitely done some good work. He's got some of the best streams, some of the best engagement.
Yeah, he does.
The guy is phenomenal. He's pissed me off a couple times. I got to admit that he said a couple of things that were incorrect. But hey, everybody can make mistakes and everybody can do things wrong. But he's much needed. If you can, go support him. Go on Twitter, send them a message, tell him to put his Twitter account back up, because he is a much needed member in the community, and my hat's off to him for all the work he is doing.
Yeah, we need Somi, man.
Yeah, we do.
I've been watching so much. He just came out of nowhere. Next thing I know, I'm watching 5 Somi videos a day.
Yeah, he's well produced. He's well marketed, and he is polished like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I've said it from the beginning. There's going to be better streamers than all of us come out. That's for sure. And they're showing up, and I'm grateful for that. I'm really.
I've started calling my wife like chocolate chip butterfly, or
I ain't gonna do none of that shit, but yeah, I like his stuff.
I don't know, man. He just keeps saying stuff like that. I'm like, okay, now I want to start saying stuff like that. It's I don't know. I think he's a great addition.
He's great.
I love having him around. I don't know why they would delete his Twitter, but he's a smart guy. Definitely smart.
He'll get it back. He'll get it back, and we'll have him back.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yep. All right, guys. Anybody got any closing arguments? Anything they want to say? Chat room, you got something? Because we've been on for 2.5 hours. We're losing viewers like crazy. We barely got to 100 tonight, which I'll take.
You gotta go further on with the ladies tomorrow morning, which is like in a couple of hours, I guess.
Yeah. I'm gonna do coffee with CZ on the Twitter Spaces in the morning.
Exactly.
I think Lit's gonna be there with me. Lit did the event in Northern California with me. It was phenomenal. What a great guy. Lit is also another great streamer. If you haven't seen Lit, his My Life is Awesome. Go to his YouTube. But yeah, man, guys, go to the pulsechaintour.com. Look for the city that we're going to be in your area. We are, if you don't know this yet, we are showing an exclusive sizzle reel of the film. It's a basically kind of a making of and a narrative of what the film is and what's going on and some insight on it. And you can only see it at the events that we have. But the film is coming very, very soon, like real soon. And I'm jumping at the bit to go ahead and tell you guys when, but and how and where and all that good stuff. But it's really exciting. I cannot wait for this to come out. It's at the perfect time with the bear market here. Everybody needs a pickup. And guys, this movie is going to be awesome, man.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Realistic scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the movie?
12.
I'm gonna hold you to it.
I'm dead serious. I am that excited about what they've done. They have just captured the whole experience of Richard, the community, the FUD, the people out there that are against what we're trying to do. I just love what they did. It's not a puff piece. It's not, it doesn't put any of us in a good light. It doesn't put Richard in a good light, but it definitely makes people question the status quo, crypto, what we're doing as a community, who we are as a community. It's kind of the first exposure that I've ever seen in a film of a real crypto community and what it does and how it acts and what it can be. I really, really love how they put it together, the production value. I couldn't be more proud of what those guys did and what I got to participate in. And it's not when I first saw the movie the first time, it was a little cringy because, I don't watch any of my streams. I have a hard time hearing my voice. I have a hard time seeing me. So it's just not something I do. But when I watched the film with my family, I got to see the premiere the first time before the music score was done, before all the real colorization and everything was taken care of. And it was very hard to sit there in front of like your mother-in-law and your father-in-law and your kids and everything and be, the captain. I mean, I'm a pretty colorful, opinionated, sometimes very passionate dude. And to see that on screen with your family was a little cringy. But then the second time I saw the film, when it was remastered and they had the 40-piece orchestra added, it added a whole new element of badass to the movie. And it's just something to see, and you're gonna all get to see it so freaking really soon. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Can't wait. I got duped on that April Fool's joke when somebody like put the Netflix opening, and then like it came out as like
I never
highest
saw
of
that.
stakes. Oh, it got me, man. It got me. I jumped
never
up
saw
out
it.
of my seat. I ran to my computer. It got me. I was like, oh, it's April 1st.
Yeah, I never saw that. I didn't even know that was out.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, all right, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm thinking we're having a chatting with the captain on Monday.
Sure stuff.
And for sure Wednesday will be me and Famous out there yucking it up.
Awesome.
Thanks for coming. We'll see you next
Thanks
Friday.
for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Happy 4th of July to all you Americans. It's 4th of July coming up here. And
4 days or something, right?
yeah, party well. Don't
Okay,
blow your
like 3
hands
days.
off, and have a good time. Take care of yourselves. Thanks, everybody. See ya.